good, get it, got it, 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 good.
Hello! My name's Chris Quinlan, welcome to Melbourne Musos. Shades and colours. Get it, got it, good. Hello, I'll say it again. My name's Chris Quinlan, welcome to Melbourne Musos. And tonight, I'm going to do some shading and colouring and all that business. So if you've got your crayons, we're going to do a bit of shading. What I have also, the bond chord. That'll come up later with the harmonic part of the evening. But what I'm doing here, I was so influenced when I was coming up with ECM records, and my favourite drummer, Jack DeJohnette, went to the Great Gig in the Sky about a month ago, and I didn't really do a show about him because I'd already done a couple and I put them straight up and all that. But his cymbal work, and he had a compadre in John Christensen, and both of them played a lot with Keith Jarrett. I could mention Paul Moshan as well, in that wonderful clutch of drummers and the way they worked colour. So what it is some people have lots of cymbals for accents. If you're looking at some of the heavy metal drummers out there, because heavy metal music is a very accented kind of music, if you keep wanging on one cymbal, you're going to lose the definition. So you'll see some drummers with cymbals. I use them for notes and melodies though. Three blind mice, see how they run. Now a cymbal has three main areas. For those of you who might not know, you have the riding area, you have the shoulder, you have the bell. Now what happens is that depending on the kind of cymbal that you have, you would predominantly use one or the other, or you can use all three on a ride, especially this one. This is a 20-inch Benny Greb ride, sand ride series. So it's not too big, so when you go to treat it like a crash cymbal, it doesn't go gong or anything like that. So so when you're doing a ride, you can have all three, the shoulder, the ride and the bell. And what happens though is that if you're using a crash, the predominant one is the shoulder. So it goes like that, you see. So what you're doing, and by the way, when you're playing a cymbal, don't no, when I see a student do that, no, you know, that kind of stuff. And what it is you lay it flat. You see, popping. You lay it flat like that. So on it goes like that. You don't really karate chop it. And that's what happens there. So, and you slice. If you play right in, you'll end up probably cracking the cymbal. It's been known you actually crack in the middle there. And the whole if you're pushing in too far. And that's what goes on. Now, the hi-hat. Oh, I love that clip. Bernard Purdy, have you seen? Oh, the hi-hat. You can chick it. You can have it open. Oh, beautiful. This one's extra dry, 14-inch extra dry. This one is the 14-inch sand. Again, Benny Greb, so is that one. The 18-inch crash, you see, and that's what goes on there. I've also got a raw bell ride for when I want more ping. Okay, so a lot of you might be asking, well, what's it doing on the left-hand side? I use it a lot with my left hand, you see. But this one and that one I often swap. Sand over here, ping over there, bells, and 22-inch China. Ooh, beautiful. And what it is, you've also got a 22-inch crash with 3 rivets here. Woo! There you go. Now what goes on with all this? Why am I talking about cymbals? Shades and colours, you see. I haven't really even put on the snares. I'm just going to treat it like that just for a second. I don't have the triggers on the snare drum today because I don't want it continually playing E. But what I've got here is pizzicato strings for triggers and the bond chord. My name is Bond Moneypenny. Yesh. Yesh Moneypenny. Now, I might go down low. I'll get my
Get it? Got it. Good. Get it? Got it. Good. Get it?
Danny Kaye, Court Jester.
Got it. Good. Get it? 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 Got it.
Build it up.
Get it? Got it. Good. 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 Get it? Got it. Good.
Three, four. One and two and three and one. Got it? Good. Get it? Good. Okay, there it is. So what's happening is I'm creating colours but with a beat. Okay. So if I just start playing, it's one of the reasons why I picked the bond chord. Mysterioso. Splash the hats. Not many people do that. You got a chick, as I said before, you can open it, you can have whatever. But not many people do that. This is very much a Jack Dejonet thing. I'm very influenced by that very early on. In the sense, a lot of people say leave the hi-hat for the band. Yes, kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But when you're starting to get into four-way independence, a la Jack Dejonet and contemporary jazz, it becomes the cohesive whole, you see. So you might have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. something like that, you see. And then what's starting to happen is I'm trying to use the colours of the cymbals, you see. The ride. Did I mention that one? That's an 18-inch China. Ooh! Colour, 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 colour. So if I take, say, it's horses for courses, I suppose. But if I'm going to take a kind of a rock beat for a bit of a spin, the different colours and shades can create the mood you need for the song, you see. So one of the things about Tony Williams, I loved his cymbal sound with Miles Davis and Poe. They sounded like rain. Now, with that one, it might be a little bit too washy for any kind of fast stuff. So you'll lose the definition. Back over here. There you go. Like that. Just somewhere in the middle. So on it goes like that, you see. So what goes on now? You can change it up by changing the things you hit drums with. I could go to mallets. Takes away the attack. See? Sticks. ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, and release. You know about that? Waves. There you go. I'm thinking like the waves coming up, starting to get a bit choppy out there. And notice the whole time there I've got the hi-hat just lightly splashing, just to keep time. Do you see, if I just didn't do it, it's still fine, but put it in. Creates the definition if you need a tempo. If you just need the soundtrack, take it out. Use, other things. And seeing we're talking about the C, these two bell cymbals up here work very nicely together. They're like boys, bell boys, like channel or something, when you're out boating and it gets foggy, you start to hear the buoy in the distance. Oh, yeah, steer left, that kind of stuff there. Now, what am I doing with this? One of the most recognizable chords in music and film, Yesh Moneypenny is coming. Dun, 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 da, da, and it is an E minor major chord built from the melodic minor. So if you have the E melodic minor scale, it's the first, second, flat third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh octave. And there's also the classical melodic minor where you do that going up, but you have natural minor coming down, sort of thing, in the more Bachian kind of way. But essentially the notes are E, G, B, D sharp, F sharp. The first, the flat third, the fifth, the seventh, not the flat seventh, the seventh and the ninth. And that gives you Yesh Moneypenny. There you go. Now, that was written, I've got to say, there was a bit of a kerfuffle about it in the time, but by both Monty Norman and John Barry. And there was a little bit of a kerfuffle about it because John Barry is the main composer for the Bond films, the first 11, I believe. And he actually took Mr. Monty Norman to court and lost. But he always said, well, if I didn't write it, why did they pick me for the next 11 films? Good point. Jono, there you go. But back to shades and colours. You see, what can happen in the most basic of ways is that you can start a song softly, kind of thing, like and build up the shading, hi-hat. Now I'm playing a game here. I'm only using 3 bits. Hi-hat, snare drum, bass drum, but with the snare drum I'm popping a little rim shot there. Start, even take that out. Who knows the 8/8 concept by Bob Moses, who used to play with Gary Burton and, you know, people like that? Steve Swallow and all that. He had the 8/8 concept where instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, it would just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There you go. I thought I'd put that in. Bring it back, waves again. I'll stop there. I'll leave that for Sunday when I have a little bit more of an extended play for Continuum, which ends up being a bit of a soundtrack for the other show, Impromptu TV, made from, started off during COVID times, where all my mates and I got together and we did all these remote clips, and there it is there. So that's more of a soundtrackian thing. Now I do a lot of colours and shades and stuff with what I do here, in the sense that that's my purpose, if you know what I mean. And that's why I've got bigger Doris here, for all the different sounds and colours. There's your Bond chord again. Yesh Moneypenny. Hi-hat again. And what happens then is that with these colours, for me at least, they would end up being a kind of a backing soundtrack for impromptu. So sometimes you play fairly sparse, and then what would happen, and I'll take these fellas for a spin now. These are the multi-sticks, lighter ones. There you go, but you could start off with like. Mysterious, I hope. So you got colours, you see. I'll stop there again too. Now when you're dealing with cymbals, there's a certain innate tone about them, right? See how they run. Three Blind Mice, you see. That's why I picked them, you see. So when you're starting to do that, there's a kind of a thing when you're going to pick a cymbal. One can stand out, it's fantastic, no worries, that kind of thing. But does it fit the rest of your set, do you see? And what can sometimes happen is that you might have this wonderful cymbal and it sounds fantastic, but it's just, it doesn't fit the others, if you know what I mean. So you're going away and sometimes you've got to pick and choose, maybe take one back. This one here is a little bit dry for certain things that I do. And this one is just right for things I do. And then I'll play a certain kind of gig and I need to take that one. Okay, it needs to be a bit drier, all that. Now, who knows about cymbal magnets? What can happen? I'll get them off here. And what happens is that when you're going out to choose cymbals, it's very good. Geez, they're good magnets, these ones. Oh, there you go. There we are. Oop. There's these. And what happens is that, what can happen is if you're going to buy a cymbal, always remember a couple of things acoustically, is that you might have a lovely little cymbal and all that, but it's a little bit too washy for what you're doing. This one. That kind of thing there. But if you take magnets instead of gaffer, and just put them there like that, there's that. It's a whole different cymbal, you see. Now you can go out and say, I need to buy some cymbal magnets, but what these ones are fridge magnets from the local hardware store where you always buy a sausage. I won't name it, you know it, there it is. And that's what goes on. So you can put cymbal magnets on, and next thing you've toned down a ringy cymbal, if you know what I mean. So there's that. There's a funny thing about television. This is my 30th year. I need to sit down and a nice cup of tea. But what it is I've often, when a drummer turns up, or if I've gone to film a clinic in the good old days, all that stuff, and I've had the station say, can you film it without the backdrop? You know, and what happens is you do a clinic and the brand is emblazoned across the back wall, you know, that kind of thing. Can you not do it? How am I going to do that? And one of the more crazy things is, can you gaffer the brand? And I said, not really, because then it'll change the whole sound of the drum. Do you see? Look. Come in, Avon calling. We've come to pick the rent up. No one's home. Cheech and Chong, 1970 something. The check's in the mail. Who remembers that? Cheech and Chong. Nobody's home, man. Hey, Dave. Dave ain't here, man. Sorry. I digress. Okay, I better get a wriggle on. What it is all about shades and colours, cymbal work, tips on picking cymbals, how to create atmosphere. Some of the great colourists out there, Jack DeJohnette, John Christensen, Paul Moshan, ECM Records, wonderful. I've influenced so much. There's so many things you can do with the hi-hat instead of just keeping it closed, you see. And then, of course, you know, you just work it up.
Got it. Good. Get it. 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 Got it.
My name is Chris Quinlan, and this is Melbourne Musos, and now for a nice glass of